Hi, everybody. It's Lasha Royenko. I'm not Forrest Gump S. I used that a joke because every time I watch Forrest Gump, I cry. His love for Jenny and his innocence, and yeah. So I just thought, life is like a box of chocolates, ladies and gentlemen. You really never know what you're going to get. And because I'm recovering and learning how to focus again, I don't know what I would have done if all of you had not hit that participation button. I like that word as opposed to subscribe. I remember Kirk Honda from Psychology in Seattle always used to say, "Hello, deserving listeners." And I never understood what he meant by that because I would watch his show all the time. I'm going back 8 years here. I'm reading The Handmaid's Tale later. So that's why I have my red hat on, because we finished chapter 5. And like I said, I wanted to read one chapter per day and really keep on top of it. But there have been some life situations that transpire, and I wasn't able to follow through with that. But if I don't follow through on that day, I always will. So we are on him, the Ardua Hall holograph. Interesting chapter. So, what is pot of gold chocolate carrying today? Strawberry filling, vanilla filling? Drop in the comments if you want tarot reads from me. And if you don't, let me know, because I don't want to keep bringing it up if people don't want the reads. But I did do a tarot card read on Russell Brand, and it's on the channel where I upload on the iPhone. And I will share with you what those cards are at the end. I don't even know. I haven't read cards in a long time. But if you want to find out about my card reputation, if you go to at Lisa Rajanko 7331, where it says Forrest Gump, life is like chocolate, question mark, question mark, question mark. The last video I posted was a little segue and what to expect during this live. 3-minute 32 introduction. So, welcome. Thank you for those who've been with me for a really long time, for the last 6 months, and welcome new joiners, viewers, likers. And back to Kirk Honda. When he said deserving listeners, I didn't understand because I was listening to his show for probably a year, and I didn't understand what subscribe. I really didn't. And I would hit subscribe, but I couldn't go through because I needed a Google account, and then I had to figure out how to do a Google account. And this was in the wheelchair time. And so now I understood what he meant by deserving listeners. But I do not believe that if you watch a video and don't join, that doesn't mean you're not deserving of listening. I still appreciate that. People take the time out of their life to watch opinion pieces. That's very generous of spirit. And I want it to be not just generous in spirit and kind and sweet and all of that. I really want truth tellers on this channel. Which is funny because we're going to be talking about juries. And speaking of truth telling and juries, I was just thinking about Russell Brand and how he interviewed Scott Peterson's lawyer. Do you remember the documentary, the Staircase? That was a Freudian slip. The Staircase with, oh gosh, not the HBO special with Toni Collette and Colin Firth, but the actual documentary, The Staircase, with the real footage and the real trial. Scott Peterson, and the lawyer's name was David, and I can't remember his last name. I can look it up on Dr. Google right now, but I'll get to that. So let's talk about Russell Brand. Tina Turner is still coming too, but this Tina Turner video that I'm putting together is not going to be, there won't be 1 ounce of my face in it. Hopefully. I can't promise that. I've been trying to learn how to clip and edit after lives. Anyways, let's just get right down to business. Russell Brand, Russell Brand, Russell Brand. Allegations, legislation, competition, narcissism, creatism? Is that a word? Creatism. Where's my book? I took all of these notes from reading and doing some research, and I can't find my book. And I was so prepared tonight even to talk about cult personalities and everything. I'm not joking. Just one moment. Ladies and gentlemen. There it is. Hi. Ooh, I have a little cramp in my foot, and that means lack of magnesium. Do you ever get cramps in your foot and your toes spread out like cramps? And oh yeah, ouchie, ouchie, ouchie. I remember once I said to my husband, I still, these are not my wedding rings. These are my grandmother's rings, but I was married. We're not legally divorced. I can't remember what I was going to say about my husband. He's very, very funny. Very, very funny. He used to call me Lashnesses. Okay, this is no laughing matter about Russell Brand. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. I don't know. I brought my mic, but I don't need it. I don't need the mic. Okay. And it's late. It's almost 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night in Grimsby, Ontario. Why is my phone dead? Oh, there it is. It just turned on. Russell Brand. I'm getting there. And I always say to people, if I'm taking a little too long to get organized, take the line through until I put my hand up when I'm 100% ready. I always say that. You don't need to sit here and waste your time watching me do this. Okay. All right. These are fresh notes from the live that I did before. And I know that most of you who watch me know that I don't rehearse anything when I go live. And I don't rehearse anything when I upload videos. Everything I do is impromptu. one thing I will never do is go online and lie. When people tell you who they are, believe them. And the reason I'm saying that one more time is because the more interviews that I've watched about Russell Brand, I remember the movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Every time I'm down, I put that movie on because it cracks me up. It cracks me up. He plays himself in that movie. Do you remember the scene when Kristen Bell and him meet whoever's married to Ashton Kutcher? Ashton Kutcher, Millie Willie, I don't know her name. And didn't their friend from the 70s show go down in jail for perpetuating nefarious activities? I'm not using code words. Perpetuating nefarious activities, and they stuck by him and they were getting bad press. I really didn't look a lot into it. But what I was going to say is about Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Kristen Bell, who I think is absolutely hilarious, like really, really funny, naturally comedic, absolutely naturally comedic. She had a little chat with Russell Brand when they did Forgetting Sarah Marshall, for him not to play any funny games. See, one thing I'll never understand is being in Hollywood and having to do intimate scenes with somebody. And kissing a stranger, that would be so strange. But Kristen Bell, remember when she had to fake what women fake often so that it can just be over with sometimes? Every woman has felt that way. Even men feel that way sometimes. So, I'm going a little slower tonight. So, Kristen Bell, I mean, that's just a fact. There's nothing wrong with free speech. Oh my goodness. But when it's lies, it's not free speech. That's just a lie. When somebody lies straight to your face, and never apologizes or doesn't admit that they made a mistake and lied, oh, I don't like that. Because it's just not right. The other thing that has come up is we already know that YouTube demonetized Russell Brand. I did not have the chance to go over and watch him on Rumble at all. However, if you want to find out about Russell Brand and his show, I haven't looked, but I'm guessing that the behavioral panel is all over this right now, honestly. And just on the behavioral panel, to switch subjects for 1 minute, and then we'll get back to the Russell Brand stuff. And I know a lot of you know all of this, but I have a few thoughts to add to it that might be a little different or might not be. So we all know Russell Brand was demonetized on YouTube, and that is absolutely disgraceful. He was never charged in the court of law by anything yet. I suspect there's going to be a trial with cameras, like the Johnny Depp and the Amber Heard trial. I wonder No, I didn't ask the tarot cards that. I was thinking about it and I thought that's really dumb. Because it's just entertainment, like they don't give you the truth. So anyway, that's my prediction. I really do believe that there will be a trial because Scotland Yard is pursuing criminal charges now. I found this out. Andrew Gold posted this 7 hours ago now. So I found this out about 20 minutes ago. That Scotland Yard has now started a real investigation into the allegations from the very people that he worked for at the BBC and Channel 4. And if you want to watch the Russell Brand documentary on Channel 4 that was in the UK, go to Andrew Gold on the Edge. He has a link in his description box. You can sign up 30 days for free and watch it. So go ahead and do that. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to after I watch this, or after I finish this. Not finish, after I say what I want to say. So that's not news. So demonetization. By an article that very credible journalists were working on behind his back for 3 to 4 years. I don't know the exact, I've heard 3 years, I've heard 4 years, so that's a long time to do an investigation. Now, Andrew Gold is he's an actual journalist. That's what he studied in school. And he's very, very good at giving direct information. So, for example, he just lays it out like it is. Russell Brand, and I've learned this from my own reading, but why do I bring Andrew Gold into this? Because I think he's as talented as Sean Atwood, and I just don't understand why he doesn't have. I just think he's super talented, and I think he should have his own TV show. But Russell Brand used to work for Channel 4. He used to work at the BBC. Andrew Gold used to work at the BBC, and he did a documentary about exorcists, like doing an exorcist. I know people don't believe in demons, but they're real, in my humble opinion. Now, what Andrew Gold said is in his time working for mainstream media, and these weren't his words. These are statements that I've heard a lot of people, commentators, even Dan Wooden had allegations of his nefarious conduct, and nothing has happened to him or changed his channel, and the UK didn't come down to demonetize him or demonize him. So why are they doing it to Russell Brand? What about Russell Brand is a threat? Now, you could look at this in two ways. It's really obvious. The allegations are true. And everybody in the UK knew what Russell Brand was before anybody in America did, or in the Canada, or around the world. He was a UK celebrity like Jimmy Savile. And I told you about that clip that I listened to with Jimmy Savile and Russell Brand on that talk show, and I just thought it was a little weird. Now, this was in the early 2000s, and I can't stress this enough. Humor was different back then. Look at Richard Pryor. He made money as a comedian because he was hilarious. But most comedians can be very depressed people because they use humor as a deflection. But I can't stand it when I joke around about things and people say, I'm trying to have a serious conversation. I say, I know you are. This is just my way of letting out the tension, comic relief. But he took it to an extreme. So, like Jimmy Savile, he hid in plain sight. But Russell hiding, Russell hiding, maybe is going to be hiding. Now the lady, there's one specific woman in the UK that is trying to silence Russell Brand all by her lonesome. Let me ask Dr. Google. I had this all written down, but it's just coming off the top of my head right now. Um, what is the woman's name who is trying to silence Russell Brand in the UK? Oh, this is an interesting article. Daily Mail. I'm going to read it to you. Russell Brand says he has faced an extraordinarily and distressing week. You think? A new conspiracy filled video, but fails to address rap and nefarious allegations. And he begs fans to support him on his 60 Rumble channel. It says it has $60 Rumble channel by Arian Jane Prosser and Katie Hind, consultant editor, show business. Didn't I say Russell Hind before I read her name? Maybe I am psychic. Russell Brand has broken his silence, claiming he has faced, I already read that, an extraordinary and distressing week after being accused of R and S and A and E abuse. Speaking in short 3-minute video, the under fire comedian thanked his followers for their support and for questioning the information that you have been presented with. Because remember, be free. Okay, which brings me to this. We all know that there's that lady in the UK that really wants him silenced. The Channel 4 and the BBC want him silenced. There's been talk that he has more viewers than the BBC and Channel 4 combined, which would be a real threat to those two news outlets because YouTube is becoming the new television. And you know what I've noticed? There is so much talent out there that now I understand why stars are not stars the way they used to be. And one thing I want to say is Michael Jackson, anybody who thinks that he is innocent, Popcorn Planet, how could you not believe James Safechuck and the other gentleman, Wade Robson? They are not underage. I can say their names. They were in the documentary Leaving Neverland. The whole family was there. Do you really believe that people would get together and act? Nobody trusts anybody now. Okay. The UK knew, okay, so let's start from the beginning, Lasha. Okay, so we know about Russell Brand and his brand. We know about the allegations. We know about the legislation that's trying to be passed in the UK right now, which does affect free speech. Even people that have done nefarious things are allowed to speak. Him being taken off YouTube and everywhere else is unprecedented. Is that the correct word? I've never heard of that in my life. Nobody found out about Jimmy Savile until after he died, apparently. But the Jimmy Savile was sent to Diana and Charles by the Queen to help them with their marriage. And Diana famously said, "He gives me the creeps." There were three of us in the marriage, so it was quite crowded. Yes. Yeah. Lady Diana was ahead of her time. The other thing I want to add about this has nothing to do with Russell Brand, but I have to say this. I found a channel and it's called The Most Inbred Families in the World. The only one that beats the Royal British Family is a family in the Appalachian Mountains. But in some ways, we must all be related genetically somehow. But do you know that King Charles III, his coefficient of inbreeding is 5%? So, really, when I think about it, thousands and thousands of years ago, nepotism and incest was um, a sin back then. Anne Boleyn had her head cut off for apparently having, um, improper relations with her family member. Yet cousins marry cousins, first cousins, second cousins. Queen Elizabeth and Philip, Prince Philip, were first cousins from different royal families, or second cousins. Charles and Camilla are fifth cousins. Um, so, really, they call the royal family blue blood, our beloved royal family. The taxpayers pay for this in the UK and in Canada. And when I found out Meghan Markle was protected by Justin Trudeau, who Justin Trudeau, by the way, his wife Sophie. Oh, and Meghan Markle used to hang around Justin Trudeau. I can't even get into that because that's a different subject. But Russell Brand, here's my thing. We know all the allegations. We all know what he did. We all know about the 16-year-old. We know all it's multifaceted. We know all it's nuanced. There's going to be a trial. He's going to be charged. I know he will be. I believe the women. But the question is always, why now? Why now? Why now? Why now? When somebody's really, 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 really famous and you know what they did to you, you can never see them the same. Like when I think about the doctor that hurt me, and then I think of the woman that was a supposed friend, but sat there for 1 year from January 2020 to June of 2021. Well, I talked about a friendship I had with a neighbor that was so important to me because I don't even think he realizes, and he wouldn't even think about me now. I just remember this. I had found happiness and I was in that wheelchair for a year. And then I just started to walking again. And I meet this guy that looks like Lance Armstrong. Now let's talk about rise and falls. Lance Armstrong, I mean, who cares if he was putting blood in his own body? Give me a break. There are so much more important issues in the world. And one of the issues is that Russell Brand denied the allegations. I've said it again and again. If he was a drug addict, he would have had arrested development, so he would have coped with ways in the way that a young person would, not a 27-year-old. He acted like an 18-year-old. He once exposed himself to a woman before he went on his radio show, scared the hell out of her, and then went on the show and laughed it up that he showed her his todger and wanted her to, but she didn't. And he did this right after it happened on the air. What does that take? That takes a lot of He's a cult of personality. Is that the correct way of pronouncing it? Cult of personality. Cult personality. Oprah Winfrey was like a cult. Marilyn Manson had a cult following. Russell Brand has a cult following, especially with this addiction business. And one thing I said earlier on was that the UK and Sean Atwood and Andrew Gold were on a live stream together a couple of days ago. You should check it out. And they said, we all know who he was before he went to America. I love the way they say that. America. No, honestly. And, you know, did you ever watch that movie, True Story, with Jonah Hall and James Franco about Joe? Jonah Hall, James Franco, and the lady who played Carrie in Nurse Jackie. The movie True Story was about who was it about? Something log horde. Christian Longo. I remember that. Okay. Why am I bringing this up? Because Russell Brand does fit high on psychopathy and narcissism. Now, he dumped Katy Perry right before her show. She's heaving and crying, and he dumped her via text, and he knew that she had to perform in front of hundreds and thousands of people. And she got on stage and performed. And the other thing that I don't understand is I do not like it when people say that Amber Heard ruined the Me Too movement for women. She did not. She told the truth a lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. I can give you example upon example, but I don't have time to do that right now. But Russell Brand is like a cult personality, and I do believe, my gut is telling me that he knew for a long time he was going to be found out about these allegations. And I used to watch him all the time about addiction, and he was on a podcast called The Podcast of a CEO. And I got a little angry at that gentleman for taking down Addicts Know the Truth, and it was Russell Brand. It was an hour and 50-minute long interview. Again, the show is called The Podcast of a CEO. He has almost 2 million participants in his show. He does his best to keep in touch with people. He's absolutely sincere, and he took that video down. Now, I heard Russell Brand talk about his 12-step program. You know, it's a bunch of horse malarkey that he didn't go through withdrawal and he was addicted to heroin. Baloney. Baloney. I think he set up this whole guru business and this Jesus look and told his fans that, if they come at me, this is why, because I'm getting to the truth. I'm not saying he wasn't. You all know Russell Brand. You watch his show. If you're watching this, you watch Russell Brand. I think he's a manipulative conniver. I do. And if anybody thinks that Michael Jackson was innocent, give your head a shake. Have you seen The Sound of Freedom? Who do you believe? Mel Gibson or Michael Jackson. That's why he couldn't sleep. And he wasn't murdered. So I just, when you think about people like Keith Raniere, Marilyn Manson, Russell Brand, Meghan Markle, Donald Trump, do you know what all of those people have in common? What do you think they have in common? Drop in the comments. I'm not going to tell you what I think they have in common, but I'll give you a hint. It starts with a C, and a lot of these leaders are very promiscuous because I told you the nefarious things that happen to men and women. Women and men very rarely come out to report these things. Maybe the women came forward now because they saw he was getting too big and it burned them that he's getting away with this. He's snowballing everybody. And that's what Betsy did with Lance Armstrong. She didn't stop. She was disgusted how his lies were snowballing everybody. And she stuck to her gun. But what was her end game? What's my end game? What's Russell Brand's end game? I don't have a game. He did. And you know what? The truth always catches up to you. That's why I suggest to people, don't lie. If you never lie, you never have to worry about things. And it kills me. And I preach this like Russell Brand used to say, if people did 99% what was right in the world at a macro level as an individual, the world's problems would disappear. On that note, I have to leave. Something's going wrong with my computer. I hope you enjoyed this. It was 37 minutes and 55 seconds too long. And you know what I always say and what I really mean? Thank you for taking the time to watch this. If you got something from it, please drop in the comments what you did. Tell me what you think. And when I say, what do Keith Raniere, Meghan Markle, Jimmy Savile, Russell Brand, and Oprah Winfrey and Harry, what do they all have in common? Tell me what you think in the drop box or in the comments. And also for your reading. Okay, so that's what I said about Russell Brand. And he's the one that said if people did what they were supposed to 99% of the time, the world would be a better place. What a hypocrite. And I used to say that over and over because it's so true. Like I'm talking about, even if I have a marijuana, a cigarette, I never leave it on the ground. I always bring it in. I never litter. Where I live right now, I pick up garbage when I see it. I stop doing it. But just because other people can be petty doesn't mean I have to be. So my negative attitude where I'm living right now needs to leave my body, and then positive will come back to me. And I was hit the other day, and it was scary. I'm lucky to be here. So that's why I said on my other channel, I won't be doing the can or dancing for probably for at least 2 to 3 weeks. I couldn't even walk the other day. Now, and Donald Trump, what do they have in common? Think about it. And I'll give you a hint. If people really knew who I was, okay, why don't they know who you are then? What do you think? I want to know. And do you want your reading? I want to know. And before I leave, for the last part of the entertainment, and Tina Turner was supposed to be done tonight, and the hymn was supposed to be done tonight, and it didn't happen. So guess what? I'm setting my alarm like Cheery Denise at 4 in the morning, and I've got the testaments ready. I have my Tina Turner ready. I just have to put it together. What else I did this week too? I had a really weird week. I even burnt my arm making hash browns. It was bizarre. And then I got hit. And then something else happened. And I thought, ooh, what do you think? I think because this building, I think because this building is like this. So this is what I look at. Okay, so this is the lake. It's beautiful, right? The pool's beautiful, right? That's what I look at. And they look at exactly the same thing over here. And then over here are more buildings. So it's almost like if you believe in energy and physics and vibrations and sound, negative energy gets stuck in this area. Now, there's another building exactly the same, except there's no apartment buildings on that side, right? It's empty, like there's nothing there. And you can see the escarpment and the water, and it's only 2 minutes to walk down there, but they don't have the swimming pool there. And I think, obviously, when this place was built, the architecture, they must have had aerodynamics, wind dynamics, all of that, building this building. Yeah. At any rate, so I'll tell you what the card said about Russell Brand. I've got them right behind me. Sorry, my hip is still like, there's a tiny, tiny, tiny hair fracture. Tiny. One sec. And that's why it's always so important to have insurance. Always, always, always. We couldn't even move into this building until there was insurance, condo insurance. You've got to have insurance, because if you don't, you know what? I rented a scooter. The scooter got stolen. I thought that I knew who did it, and I need to make a public apology right now to Michael Kozak. It wasn't him. I actually spoke to the officer, and the person that did obtain it, I took all that responsibility on myself, and I didn't need to because it wasn't him. So I'm publicly, and you're all my witnesses, apologizing that he was not the man that stole the scooter. And when the scooter was stolen, I had my favorite caramel leather jacket. It was a beautiful, back in the day when I worked, and I wanted to talk about Jenny Craig. I worked there for almost 20 years. They've gone bankrupt now, and they were a cult. And you know how I talk about Arrested Development? I remember this very wise 53-year-old friend of mine at the time. So this was, like, say, 20 years ago. So she'd be 73 now. When I was laid off along with 28 regionals because there were too many tiers of management, I sued them. I was the only one that sued them. And do you know that people were so brainwashed? I phoned the gals that got laid off and I said, "Are you going to sue?" Do you know what 5 women said to me? "Oh, no. No, it was just a business decision. It was nothing personal." Really? 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 It wasn't personal? Mm, I don't think so. Because if it wasn't personal, I wouldn't have won. And I did win. And then I called that same person back and I said, "How are you doing?" And do you know what she said to me? "Lasha, I can't even talk to you. It's too painful." And then I heard tears and I apologized because it hit me right away that what these people did was wrong and I'm done. And I went to the lawyer the next day. That was it. And I used my last $3,000 to get a retainer. And then the next day, you know how I told you I've been mistreated by men? Well, so when I met this person, I was 24 years old, and I told you I was not well as a teenager, and I'll get into that at another time. Um, and he was sort of my first boyfriend. He was the first love of my life, and it wasn't the long-haired hippie. It was my husband. Do you know the next day we were at the grocery store and I had spent my last $3,000 and we had just come back from Mexico and I paid for the trip and it was $6,000. Now, why am I telling you this? Because I want to brag about money? No, I don't have money. Who does nowadays? But people don't need to be greedy. That's what I don't like. Greedy, hymie, selfishness should be avoided at all times. You can tell a lot about people's character with the relationship in which they have with money. It's a dead giveaway. I was told by a partner that he was used by women for money. Well, that turned out to be a projection. He used women for money. And I actually know a bass player right now. I think he's 63 or something. And he told me that he used to use women on the road for food. So he would pretend like he was in a relationship with them, have intimate relations, use them to eat. And he told me that he was intimate with 1,000 women in his life. And I think that's disgusting. Disgusting. I don't think that's morally correct at all. I don't. That's a sickness, and that's not about that. It's about power. That's what it's about. And control. And the fact that Russell Brand would do that so publicly to a public figure. And then the young girl or the woman that um, sent him text messages that were in the Sunday Times. They were put together properly. Did you read the apology from Russell Brand? But yet he's denying all the allegations right now. What is he supposed to say? Yes, bring it on. I thought that he might come out, apologize, take responsibility, and be real. But now, based on his reaction to the allegations, I do not believe in him anymore. I will not watch him anymore. I'm done. I am so done. Aren't you done being swindled? I'm sick of it. And don't ever, 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 and I learned this, don't ever, ever put yourself down in front of people, because you know what people will do? Especially if you're vulnerable and they had their empathy gutted out of their soul, they will pick on you till the cows come home. And if they can't get you, they'll try to hurt you some way else, somewhere, somehow, or some other way. People can be so cruel. And you know what? I know that I have a bad attitude sometimes. And I know that I can be a little exhausting sometimes. And my personality is changing a lot, especially since I moved here. I've never in my life encountered such bizarre situations, ever. And I'll talk about that on another podcast when I'm gone. All right, Russell Brand's cards. Are you ready? So I posted the spread on Forrest Gump. Life is like chocolate, question mark, question mark, question mark, or at LISAROJENKO 7331. And I love how it's 7 and then 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7, because 7 is my lucky number. And then the other channel is 6152, and 6 plus 1 is 7, and 5 and 2 is 7. And then the other one is 6907. And 69 is also like a yin and a yang. Don't even. I know, I was going to make a joke, but as everybody always says on YouTube, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble. Well, I know I don't. I know it's not about trouble. You know what? I just want to follow the guidelines and the rules. And yes. So this is the reading that I did on Russell Brand. I was not as on track as I was the other day. However, I hope you enjoyed this. And I'm going to say this at the end of every show. Be kind to yourself. That's why I started this channel. Because I wanted to be kind to myself. I wanted to change. And it's been working. And do you know what? I started this on Facebook, and I really miss Facebook. But for some reason, I think you have to pay $4 or something. I think I'm going to go back on Facebook because I really, really enjoyed it. And I miss talking to the people that I did. I really do. So you're not going to be able to see this spread, but here it is. Here. I don't know, can you see this? At the end, all positions. Do you see the cards? Are in the first position at the end. The heart. Ooh, he's going to be having issues in his marriage. Huge. I think they're going to get divorced. That's not the cards. That's just what I think as a person. And the lily in the first. And sometimes not always, there are times I have missed matches, but I always get a feeling when I miss matches. So. Was that the forest? I'm missing one. It was the forest. Oh, the forest. Yeah. The forest. There it is. Okay. So he got the. So I didn't read the meanings on this post because I did this before I came on live. So, okay. I wrote all of the cards down, and I'm going to read the meanings from the book. I went through a terrible time I'm always talking about my terrible times. Jesus, Lasha. Oh my gosh. I had a beautiful childhood with my Nana and my Papa, um, and my mom and my Auntie Margie and my Uncle Pat and my cousin Jennifer and Carlton. And it was a little bit different on the other side of the family, but I love them as equally. I miss them as equally. Um, but then something happened when I was very young, and I am not ready to talk about it. It's not time. Okay, so Russell Brand received, first of all, the forest in the first, the fox in the fourth, the horse in the first, the branch in the fourth, the letter in the three, the sun in the second, the hen in the first, the heart in the first, the cat in the first, and the lily in the first. 10 matches. So, okay, let's go for it. All right. And you know, Lori, thank you for these. She got these for me, and she purchased them for me online because she knows that I won't shop on Amazon because I don't believe that Jeff Bezos deserves to have any more money, and the way those employees are treated, and they're definitely not paid enough, and they work like it, I just think that's wrong. So I don't shop online. And so Lori got these as a home gift. And Karen, I miss you. I'm sorry that things didn't work out in reference to the living arrangements. However, I really miss our friendship. I just want you to know that. Okay. Ooh, I'm starting to wind down. My enthusiasm and energy is starting to shift down to a lull. So I'm going to have a sip of coffee. Do you like those Starbucks coffees? Believe me, I wish this was liqueur. Where did I put that coffee? I love Starbucks. Do you know that I probably buy? Well, not anymore because they're $4.49 each. So I was spending $10 a day, 7 days a week, which is that's $280 a month I was spending on these drinks. Can you believe that? And do you know that Skip the Dishes wouldn't give me back my $49 for chicken? Like Kentucky Fried Chicken would go broke if they reimbursed a customer because I needed delivery, but it was pickup and I didn't understand. And then I messaged in and they said that I messaged in too late, but I messaged the same day. And they wouldn't give me my $46, but I spent $85 on the delivery because it was a bunch of us. I mean, now that's Jaime. I mean, that's just getting stupid. Should I think of a better word than stupid? My father always used to say, it doesn't matter. My father, he was a character. He really was. Okay, Russell, let's see what's up with you, lad. And what did he get? He got the branches in the fourth, too. So this means, immediate to life. I'm telling you what oh, you can't even see that. There, you can see it there. So I didn't know this. Okay, so branches. Immediate to life. Symbol for reconciliation or unpleasantness in family relations. I am telling you, he got the heart in the first. And that means once bitten, twice shy. I think him and his wife are going to. This is just my opinion. I didn't hear this anywhere. I'm not judging this by tarot cards. I don't want that to happen, so I'm not going to say it. But it is a reconciliation or unpleasantness in family relations. Now, could you imagine how his children are being treated? And his wife? I don't even know what his wife looks like. I've never seen his children. And it's in the fourth, and it's tears and offense. Now that's interesting, because one of the things that I noticed, and Andrew Gold said this too. Why do I keep dropping his name like I know him? Do you know I don't? And I guess I watch him so much, I feel like I know him, you know? Anyway, it says, tears and offense, unhappiness due to someone else's lack of consideration or hurtful actions. This is not a major problem in your life, just a period when you're feeling vulnerable. The other person might not even realize that he or she is hurting your feelings. If the tears come, cry as much as you can. This will wash away the negative feelings and leave you ready to face the world again. I think that's the victims crying, or the family crying about how selfish and how stupid could he be. The heart means a one-sided relationship, once twitten. Well, yeah, once bitten, twice shy. The lily means happiness, life full of meaning. Okay, the main take from this: the field of work that you have chosen will benefit the world or humankind in some way. Christ's, are you kidding? I'm not even joking. Christ's life is the ultimate example of a happy life that was full of meaning. His teachings of loving each other and caring for the poor have endured for 2,000 years. Your efforts don't have to be so grand, yet whatever you do will be of benefit to others as well as make you happy. Well, Russell, that lasted for a while, but this Jesus thing, if you were really a good person, even though you could face jail time for what you did, there's statute of limitations, there's lawyers, but you can't come out and deny something that's true. Do you think that the Sunday Times falsified your return text message? And she also went to a rape center afterwards. And then the 16-year-old girl, I mean, how could she come forward at 16? 16 and 16 is 32. So she's 32 years old now. And so this would have happened 16 years ago. So like 2010, or, in the mid 2000s, some point, or early 2000s. And times were different back then. But this is a different era. And I say that over and over. Now, the sun is particularly interesting, because it says, did he get it in the second or the third? He got the sun in the second. A lack of courage hinders you from obtaining your wish, and warmth and light are within you alone. You're the master of your life. If you want warmth and light, it's within you alone right now. No one but you will help or hurt you. Don't look for someone else to make you happy or love you. Begin by loving yourself. Do things that make you happy. Others will inevitably be drawn to you. This picture comes up quite often when people are having difficulties and need help. The picture tells you that it is up to you. Sorry, this picture tells you that it is no use seeking help from others, as they can't help you or they simply don't want to. That's exactly what it says. The truth is that you don't need anyone else's help, as you are capable of solving your own problems. Now, then she goes into an example about school and losing weight and this type of thing. And then she says, the picture can also come up when your family or the group you are with is in difficulty. At that time, it is you who has the energy and radiance that gives the other people support. You don't have to do anything for them, only stay positive and friendly. This is enough to pull them through their difficulties. I don't know how that, you can interpret it how you wish with Russell Brand. Anyways, I can tell you, and the fox in the fourth position, I think the fox is number 6. I'm wrong. It's number 9. No, that's the bouquet. Number 14. It's number 14. It's all coming back to me now. I was going to break out into song, but it is almost 11 o'clock here, and I'll probably get a ticket for making noise tonight. A ticket, I know. It's a condominium. This is period of short, and short is usually 1 to 3 months. And he got the fox in the fourth. Don't be too trustful. Okay, I don't know who this is for, but I asked what is going on with what Russell Brand right now in his head. That's what I asked. What is going on right now with Russell Brand in his head? That's what I asked. I said it twice. I won't say it 3 times. Don't be too trustful with some people around you. The broadness of the circle of people that referred to by this picture in the previous position. The picture could be a warning you against someone in your family or your workplace, among your business acquaintances, or even your neighborhood. It is not so much danger that you have to be aware of, but deceit. You will have to look at other pictures in the reading to see what kind of loss you may suffer. How about all of them? Emotional, monetary, and business. As mentioned previously for this picture, when you get it, be very careful of information that you divulge. The picture also can refer to information that you have divulged in your past to your boss or to government officials. You should not lie, but you don't have to divulge more than is necessary. Remember that it is the job of the officials to catch people on technicalities. So don't place unwarranted trust in everyone at this time. If you are starting a business, then you should be particularly careful in what you are doing, as there are hidden dangers. So you can interpret the Russian gypsy cards as to how you view them into Russell Brand, but that's what I have for you about Russell Brand tonight. And you know what? I'm going to work on my Tina Turner tribute now, and I'm going to post it tomorrow on at Lisa Rajenko 7331, which is the Forrest Gump channel. That's the iPhone channel. I want to amalgamate it so that I can do lives on the channel and everything, and I can't do that yet. So that's why I have the 3 channels, but I think the third channel is a Google channel for some reason. I'm not sure. But for some reason, you can subscribe to it, and there's some nice videos on there. There's one that was my silly video. I wasn't quite sure what to do. I've already talked about that, so I'm not going to bore you with the same stories. Over and out. Good night. This was an hour and 10 minutes long. Wow. Thank you for taking the time to watch, your generosity of heart and kindness, and I hope that this information helped. Also, again, I will say to you one more time, please be kind to yourself. Don't ever do what I did. Never, ever treat yourself with disrespect. And if you have a freak flag, just keep it down a little bit. Okay? Thank you so much, everybody. I really enjoy doing these, and I hope you enjoy it as much. And I guess I'll find out, won't I? Jeez. Okay. Be kind to yourselves. Okay. Bye.